to sit in. Do you know
Yes.
what I mean?
Okay.
So, and
No, sorry, I didn't. Because last week you got me in the middle of a snort. Okay.
Yeah, I did. I got you in the middle of a snort. It was brilliant.
And now we're live again. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
He reckons he does no planning. Crap.
Push that button.
Just throw the fishing line out and see who you can suck in.
Look, I'm happy to go fishing at any time. But do you know what? Honestly, and for people that watch us, like we always turn up laughing, right? And the reality is behind the conversations that we're sort of having warming up, because we jump on 5 minutes early, it is quite entertaining. We just absolutely take it out of each other. So, but welcome again to another What's Up Wednesday. Who knows where this one's going to go? Hey, Mick, how are you? And so what we've got going on at the minute is some great opportunities. And we've got Alan and Angela with us tonight to share with us a little bit of something about the Campfire Project, where the business of smiles was born from. Like previously it was Sunday sessions that got killed by COVID, and now it's morphed into this beautiful opportunity called the Business of Smiles, which is just a fantastic place. There we get to touch hearts, and some of the people that have really been able to touch my heart are the three people on screen. And so I really want to bring that together tonight. So hello, people. How are we? How are you going on?
Pretty good.
Thank you.
No rest for the wicked. It's been busy times, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, beautiful. And thank you for coming on tonight. It's good to see you on here. So, Angela, how are you, mate?
Excellent.
Giddy up. Thank you for joining us tonight. And it's good to see Shorty back. G'day, mate. How are you?
You back in action. Hope everyone is well. Thank you for tuning in for another session of What's Up Wednesdays. Because this is what it's important. It's important to really stop and connect and have conversations. And looking forward to really. Here we go. This is going to go sideways before it even goes forward.
Comment so people know why I'm laughing.
Yeah, I did. But look, that's what it's about, right? Having a good giggle, having a good laugh. So,
that's how we roll.
Absolutely. Well, I've got a couple of things before we dive into a conversation tonight, because I'm super excited. There's a couple of things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. Lots of things that have happened. Like one of the things that happened this morning was I got the opportunity to present to a Rotary in Frankston, and it was really interesting because I sat down and I really wanted to touch the hearts of the men, and I sat down, put together my whole presentation. I was so happy with it. Woke up at 3 o'clock this morning just to make sure that I had it all right. And then I left it to the side. And I just put my heart on the table, and I'm just, if you've been around me doing a private presentation, I go pretty deep, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. So from my heart to theirs, I really want to thank them for allowing me to put my heart on the table so that we could walk together this journey called life. Tomorrow night, we've got our Smiles for Life dinner in Frankston, something that I absolutely love. And it's, we've got 30 plus men already booked in to come and sit and have a meal and a conversation, a guided conversation where we actually talk about the little things in life, because the little things often become the big things. We just forget that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I got a massive thank you to Experimag in Hawthorne. I'm coming to you with a much better picture, much better opportunities around how I work a computer, maybe, because they've gifted us the opportunity to be able to connect better through utilizing a much better computer rather than my laptop. So I'm very, very grateful to them. Now, Experimag in Hawthorne, not only have they supported us, they have our socks. So if you're in around Melbourne, go to Experimag and grab yourself a pair of socks with purpose, because they do make a difference. I will be putting up some social media around that tomorrow, just to share that little journey. So big thank you to everybody that's involved in all projects that we're currently working on. Shorty.
Can I ask you a big question, first of all? On the computer, did the guy show you where the button is?
Well, there's no buttons on the mouse, right? So good luck.
It's going to be a long night, Papa.
It's going to be a long night.
I just want to jump on something, though. I just want to jump on something about tomorrow night's dinner. If you know anyone in Frankston, tag them in this to get them to come along. We'll send up the where you can register to come along for the dinner. It's a beautiful dinner. It's all about connection. It's all about having conversations. It's all about having a place where you feel safe, where you can meet new people and you can hear each other's stories. So come along. If you know someone in the Frankston area, a father, a brother, an uncle, a son, just tag them and we can reach out and get them along there. So there's such beautiful events. Highly recommended.
Yeah, thank you. And just a big shout out to everybody in Frankston that is actually getting behind the Smiles for Life dinners, because there was a post that got put up with a guy who took the big bold step of putting his heart on the table, sharing where he's at life. And what came back was the magnificent support from the community, over 150 comments. But one of the things I was most proud of is people I'd never met before or don't really know. So listen, there's a bunch of guys get together, Smiles for Life, get around it. He's coming. I've had to catch up with him, and he's coming. And I've got some big news actually tomorrow night. I've got to wait and hope that it all happens. But if it happens, the Business of Smiles will be going to the next level with connection. Something I'm really proud of. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that next week. So thank you, Shorty. All right. Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Question. What's the furthest place you have sent socks to?
Ooh.
Where have they traveled to?
England, US, Slovakia.
Okay. Because I just spoke with I told a coaching client of mine in New York about you, and she ordered a pair of socks, and they're on their way to her. And she's a stand-up comedian, so I'm pretty sure she's going to wear them on stage.
That'd be wonderful. Well, photos. We need evidence. But it's funny though, isn't it, Angela? I really appreciate that, right? Because the socks do carry meaning. The socks do have purpose. They really do connect with people. And I've got some. Yeah, I'm going to hold out for that, because there's some stuff going on that I'm just so proud that we're involved with. Like the Alan and Shorty came down to Frankston, my hometown, and supported us for the 12 days of Christmas, and it's touched a lot of hearts, and that recognition has really started to come through. So I'll just sit on that, but I'm just really grateful for that. So socks with purpose, and thank you, Angela. So tonight we've got Alan and Angela on, and as much as we're here to share what's going on in Campfire, so that's something I love being a part of. But you've got some serious knowledge sitting here tonight. If you've got a question you'd like to pose to anyone, I'm going to say take advantage of it, right? Because to sit here and have some amazing people sitting at the table, I think you should try and take advantage of that. But first things first, Papa, the Campfire Project. What's going on?
Well, we're having our first live campfire down in Sydney on the end of April on the 29th and 30th. It's a pretty simple agenda. We're meeting at the Baden-Powell Scout Camp in Pennant Hills on Pennant Hills Road. And it's a pretty simple agenda, as I said, arriving at 3 o'clock on the Saturday and leaving on the Sunday late morning. The whole thing is about having conversations, sitting down, virtually sitting around the campfire. Now, I have to, first of all, thank Angela for all the work that she's put into it as well, because she did a lot of the preparation, a lot of the images that have gone out. Angela's also offered to do all the cooking, so we're organising the food for people, making it very simple. And it's very much getting together around the Campfire Project, not everyone going off and preparing their own food, but coming together and all the food being there and sharing the conversations like we would have done in tribal times, or what we, like we do now if we go away for family and we go camping and we sit around and having a meal, having lighthearted conversations, but those that want to have a more deep conversation being able to do that, and having virtually a panel discussion in the evening by the campfire and having everybody getting involved and sharing their ideas and thoughts around it. As we found in the Campfire Project all the way through, I did a quick tally. We're close to 600 hours of videoed conversation since we started 4.5 years ago. In August, it'll be 5 years that we've had this running. We've had all genders, all religions, all cultures. We've had no bigotry, no sexism, and no racism. And in none of the conversations, recorded conversations, has anybody been disrespectful to anybody else. So the Campfire Project has achieved something that no other group worldwide has achieved, and that's a place of total inclusion and equality. And so to sit down with people from all different backgrounds, all different lifestyles and everything else, and having conversations with them and learning from them and getting to know them, and Angela and Scott, you know this very well because you've done a lot of the one-on-ones and conducted a lot of the panel discussions, and you know what it's like to sit down and have a conversation with somebody, and for them to trust you enough to open up and tell you their story. It's so deeply humbling, and I feel grateful to everybody who's told me their story. So, could I throw it over to both of you first of all? We'll go back to what we're doing in the end of April. Just your own experiences of what you've felt when you've been doing those conversations and panels.
Angela.
Well, I was just laughing, not because I was like, oh, yes, fun conversations, but yes, fun conversations, because you posted this week, you reposted the conversation that Scott initiated. When was that, 2 years ago?
Probably 3, I think.
So.
About somewhere around 2 years or so.
Time is a blur, right? Yeah, where you threw me under the bus, big time.
But
not me, Scott.
and the conversation you're talking about was, does size matter? Talking about penis size, right? And it's interesting because I sum up what the Campfire about is literally with that conversation, right? I had questions, and I had 5 women hold space so that I could answer them. So I could get answers. I could basically fumble through a conversation in order to get growth for me and for others, so that they can listen and understand that the power of conversation is actually our growth. I honor you for that, Angela. Like the very first question, what does it feel like to have a penis inside you? As a man, we don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that was something for me that I encourage you to watch that conversation. I encourage you to watch a man ask questions to 5 beautiful women who understood that I came from curiosity and not from anything else. So they gifted us the opportunity to actually connect. And I walked away from that conversation with 5 women in my life that I know I can talk to about anything. 5 women that I know that I can go to for advice on how to make things really work, and I think that's super important. So I honor you for that, Angela. I honor you for sitting in that space and just really opening it up, because only once we do open up those conversations do we get an understanding and appreciation of each other. I'm so much more gentle these days with the women in my life because of the Campfire Project, because of those discussions, because I understand things better. I appreciate you more.
Yeah, well, you learned something about myself on that night, because I remembered, Scott, you asked me in advance when you said that you asked 5 women thinking you'd be lucky to get 3, and all 5 had said yes. And you said, right, you'd have your other monitor open and with your messenger on there. And if you said something that I thought would be a worry, to message you straight away. I heard your first question. I went, you're on your own. So I found out that I'm very quick to sort of duck out very quick. I thought, mate, you asked it, you carry it. But the beautiful thing is, and this is what I really get back to with the conversations, is the relationships that have been created in those. That's why in Sydney, when we have the event, there's not going to be an agenda where we're going to have breaks at different times and saying, right, at this time we're going to do this and at that time we're going to do that. It's going to be free flowing. This is where people are going to get together, connect at the level that they feel comfortable with, and go as deep as they want to in those conversations, and be able to move around and connect with each other, come together as a group as well, so that we've got that bond as a family, but at the same time being able to have respectful conversations in separate locations around the campsite. It's something like about 34 hectares. So it's not a small property.
And we're going to be in an amphitheater, right?
Yeah. There's a fire pit with an amphitheater, so we should be able to have a great little fire there and a great conversations. And those that like the comfort, there's bunk beds. And I think we've got about 3 people who have said, yes, they'd like the bunks. And the rest of us will be camping out under the stars. You know, the people saying that they like 5-star accommodation. I go, nah, 1,000 or 1,000,000 stars, thank you very much. Just lay down in the swag and enjoy it. And then getting up and having breakfast together in the morning.
I love it. I just got excited. I'm sorry. Tra-la-la. I'm just warming up for the amphitheater.
Oh, you're going to say
We're trying to get people to come, mate.
Oh, sorry.
If you really want to scare them, you and I can do a duet.
Oh, let's go for it.
Deal. Okay, we've got one agenda item in that case. Free floating. Duet.
What have you got against everybody who's coming along to the evening? What have you got against them to get me and Scott to do a duet?
Yeah, nah.
That'd be great.
So I've got a question for Angela. I'm just going to jump in there because I want to continue on this path. Angela, why do you think it's important? Because the Campfire has been an online version for the last 5 years since inception. Why do you think it's important to go offline around a real campfire?
You can see the whole person. I mean, Alan will tell you all about the importance of seeing the whole person, of body language, and also of really being in each other's energy. I mean, as much as I enjoy this, but nothing beats a hug.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the best thing. And I mean, God, I remember when I saw Scott and Alan for the first time. I had met Alan before, but Scott and I had met, we'd known each other online for 3 years. And Oscar and his son, I know at one point I said, Oscar, I can't wait to meet you when I finally meet you in person. And he looked at me and he said, what do you mean? We've never met in person? So you can build these relationships online. But then when I met you for the first time and I realized how tall you are, because now we're all the same height, right? It was one of those what moments.
And there was a back to his head as well.
Yes. Because I only see you from the front, so I could see, profile. It was pretty good. So yes, so to see the whole person, to really be together. It's just, we've just had that, right, Shorty?
Yeah, totally right. And that's the beautiful point and hence asking that question, because we can do this all day. And as Papa has said, that we've got, 600 hours of questions and interviews and panel discussions in the Campfire. If you're not a member, jump over and join the Campfire Project in Facebook. But coming together in the flesh, feeling the energy, holding space for one another, asking those deep questions where you can feel that intention of someone, that pure intention of curiosity, like, tell me more about that, and going deeper in certain areas and connecting with other people. There's no better place around a real campfire, around real humans, to really have that deep connection. So it's a beautiful space. And, when we caught up a couple of weeks ago, Angela, it was that big hug where it's just like, oh, you could just squeeze and squeeze it. It was so beautiful. And you can just feel that connection. It was, yeah, definitely.
And then again, saying that, the opportunity to have panel discussions with people. I know I had one panel discussion with 3 women, one in California, one in London, and one in Sydney. And the only time we could find where between jobs and children and, everything was Sunday morning, 6:00 Brisbane time, And we made it happen.
Mm.
And it was just fabulous, you know, to get these very different women together, and so empowering. And I get to meet people that I would have never met under any other circumstances other than on the Campfire Project.
Mm.
So that's, you know, there's a blessing in both. So I'm always in favor of having both.
Definitely.
Mm.
I think something for me that has been extraordinary. I don't consider myself an educated man. I consider myself a well-experienced man. I've had a lot of different experiences, and that's gifted me the opportunity to see things the way I see them. But when I sit with people from the Campfire Project and we have conversations, I get so much growth from these conversations because they go so deep. You go so many layers through that it creates this authentic connection that I just adore. Like, I'll never forget sitting at the table with Angela and Alan and Kylie Hutchinson, and we're sitting at the table having a meal, and the couple sitting next to us were just blown away with the conversation. They sat there just...
Yeah, they were leaning in, definitely, literally.
And they actually mentioned that. They actually go, we just want to thank you for being here tonight, because you've added so much to us by your conversation. It's just been so interesting listening to you talk so raw and open and honestly. And I mean, this is how we live. And it's just a wonderful experience. Like there with Angela and Ellie, just really embrace what we do online. It was just extraordinary. I love it. So,
see, when you say we go really deep as well, it's for some people who might be a little bit worried about, well, if I get into conversation, how deep are they going to take me? The thing is that we've never taken anybody deep. They've taken us. We've had so many people sit down with us who have never told their story before for many different reasons, from everything from being just embarrassed, from being ashamed or being shy, whatever, or thinking that nobody would understand or be able to, connect with what they've gone through in their past. And once they start talking, they just open up and they take us deeper. And they're telling us virtually everything. And they go, a number of people have said to me, that's the best therapy I've ever had. And I've always said, well, if you want to thank the therapist, get offline, go and look in the mirror and say thank you. Because you've finally listened to your unconscious mind that's been screaming at you for ages, but your conscious mind's been ignoring it. And so what you're feeling now, you did. So all the bad feelings you've had in the past, you now know that you can bring the good feelings in because you were totally in control. All we did was hold their space, sitting around the campfire. That's why the fire's always going behind me there when we have these talks, because people can then, you sit around a campfire, you get drawn into it. There's something meditative, mesmerizing about it. It brings comfort. People start to relax really quickly, and people then can open up. But they only open up as far as they're comfortable to open up. We never ask questions. People have said, Alan sits there for 45 minutes and never says anything. Is he profiling them? Well, no, I've done that in the first couple of seconds. But as far as sitting there with them, that's just holding their space, which was our promise. And that's why the one at the end of the live ones won't be having any real set agendas of any form, other than the fact of having that connection, being able to spend time in each other's energies and really connect and be there for each other.
I love that, because I think the greatest gift anyone can ever give you is to get to know them. The real them. What's really going on. And it's such a privilege to have that. It's such a privilege to know somebody's story. And it takes time to learn that. And I really, like, I'd love to meet all the campers. I'd love to meet all the smilers. I'd love to touch hearts with people, in the physical as much as the virtual world, because it really does make a difference. It really does make a difference to me. It makes a difference to me. Like I drove up to see Papa in between the lockdowns because I just wanted to touch hearts. Hadn't seen him for ages, and I just wanted to touch hearts, and it means the world to me. So I'd love the opportunity to meet as many people as we possibly can. So can I ask a question? Shorty, go actually.
So I just want to, because we're streaming tonight on multiple different platforms, from Facebook to LinkedIn to YouTube to a couple of different groups. How can, for those who are interested for some more information or even to register, Papa, where do they go and how can they register for the live campfire?
Well, as you all know, there's a website that we've got, thecampfireproject.com.au. That's where everything sort of starts and people go there. But if they want to get some information about it straight away, just jump on and send an email to support@thecampfireproject.com.au. And I can put the details in there. We've also got the Facebook page there as well. If we can put that in the chat, in the comments fields later on, they can come in there and they'll be able to see it there. But I'm also now putting those out on LinkedIn, on my business pages, and also on Facebook as well. So I'll be just going on all of my pages, because I think this is extremely important. Sydney goes well. My target, what I want to see is, because I'm on the Eastern Seaboard, is everywhere from Cairns all the way down to and including Tasmania, having different locations where we're able to get together and then have those. So it's a continuation. Then after having been over in Perth and Adelaide recently on a speaking tour, I'd love to be able to get, wherever we get large groups of people, getting them going there, but then getting to a point where we can then telecast those while we're having, say, a group discussion around the campfire, telecasting that out to the other people around in the Campfire Project around the world. And as we grow in size, start to see them running campfires as well and them to be able to telecast it. At the end of the day, under the hashtag We Together, it's the only way we solve problems. It's not a matter, we need all the groups that point out the problems, like Me Too, Men Too, and all that, but they're never going to be the solutions because they're all pointing fingers. But when we come together shoulder to shoulder, we solve problems because we're looking at the problem. We're not looking at each other as the problem. And so once we start doing that, that extent expands. We want to connect with all those other groups and have them part of the Campfire Project as well, and us to be part of their groups, so that we can support each other and grow globally into a large movement, so that we've got large areas all around the world where large groups of people can get together. And then before I get too old to travel, I want to be able to travel to all of those and sit in their space as well with those people, sharing their campfires around the world. Can you imagine sitting in a campfire in a completely different environment, trees and foliage and all the other things around you that's different to your own hometown, and sharing that with other people? That's amazing. The thing that really excites me.
I have to say, I've had the privilege of doing that, and it is amazing. It's just awesome. Yes, and I'll be the one traveling with you, of course.
I think there'll be quite a few of us traveling together, and I'm always up for it because I love the company. So that's one thing that the Campfire's brought together, and and you've done with we've done with the business of Smiles as well, is bringing like-minded people together who love being able to be there and help other people. Because when we give, we receive, and we're helping a lot of and talking to a lot of people, we're receiving a lot. And I'm a very selfish person. I want to get a lot, so I'm always going to be out there sharing a lot as well for that purpose.
I'm sorry, I'm smiling quite heavily at the minute, and I'm just going back through my mind about the times I've caught up with these gorgeous humans, whether it was the first time Shorty and I met, at the bus, and Papa was standing in the toilet and scared the living daylights out of him, which was just extraordinary. How did it go?
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Go and check it out. It's a Smile channel. It's on YouTube. I'll never let this day down.
It was just awesome. Through to Angela sitting there looking at me, going, touching my face. What, you've got hair at the back of you. What? You've got hair hanging at the back. I remember you grabbing my hair. Going,
yeah, you've got a little mullet because you can sing, right? Yeah, a mini mullet.
I know, but it's the time we got to go to Jewish house, Papa, and I was your security guard.
You should have seen him. He's wearing a tuxedo, really looking the part. He's standing behind me because he's a lot taller than me. He looked like the security guard. He's looking around, and he really bunged it on. So I rung him a couple of times. I looked around and here he is standing behind me looking at people like that and almost putting his hand on my shoulder to protect me. The only thing he was missing was a curly cord coming down from his ear.
And I let everybody think I was too. I wasn't changing that.
Had a few people looking at me going, who is he? And looking at me going, what?
Oh, one thing's for sure, Scott's got your back.
100%. But the reason why I'm sharing these moments is because, these are great to sit here and talk and grab all the opportunities that come up. But when we're in person, the dynamics become even greater, and I just love it. I consider the people inside the Campfire Project and the communities we've built. It's our family, right?
Yep.
The amount of people I can drive up and down the eastern seaboard and catch up with so many people from the Campfire. It's just extraordinary, and I have done that regularly. So, Kim Dunlop, Lisa Jane, Jerome, there's so many amazing people. Hey, by the way, Johnny. So Arnie Shaz and so Arnie Shaz is here too, and I want to grab that because catching up with Arnie Shaz and Peter D in Queensland was just beautiful, and Karen Chasen, it was just wonderful. Arnie Shaz has posed a question for you, Papa, so I'm going to throw that up there and let you answer that one, please.
Okay, well, thanks very much. As you said, Scott, I never advertise what I do. I've only just started sort of promoting that again because Kylie Hutchinson came over with a son. He's now 18, just at the end of February. And we sat down and had a talk about, how it's changed their lives, and that since he was 6 years old when I profiled him. And that reminded me that the skills I've got need to be out there. My target now is to create and train my competition because we need more people doing what I'm doing. And as a leader's job is to make themselves redundant by raising other people up to do what they're doing. And hopefully do it better than they ever did it before themselves. So that's my focus in that. But being able to look at a young child and know their personality straight away, regardless of whether they've got a condition of any form or their diagnosis or just your regular everyday kids. And by the way, there is no such thing as normal because everybody is different. So there's no average there at all. So with that, being able to look at a child, understand them, and then teach everybody else around them how to talk to them in the way that they need to be spoken to. And in that then changes that child's environment. It changes their lives. And it means there's no real need for heavy medications or anything like that if they do have those other conditions. And, people who've got children who are, just the average, children, no, diagnosis or anything else, it improves their life as well. So that's why the profiling is so important to me. And Shorty, you'd have an understanding of how that's worked for you.
I was just going to jump in there, Papa. So Papa profiled my two younger kids 9 years ago.
Be close to that now.
Yeah, 9 years ago. And two separate different profiles, Lily, who's now 15, and Tiger, who's now 13. And firstly, straight off the bat, he said, good luck with her. She's she's an independent woman. She's as soon as she's ready, she'll go. She's a powerhouse. And with Tiger, he's softer, he's more gentle. He loves the music and so forth. And to this day, Papa and I chat every week, and I give him updates on what's happening with the kids, and it just confirms everything that he mentioned 9 years ago of how we're communicating with them and what's happening in their lives. It's like I usually tear up when I talk about it because it's such a beautiful process to understand how to connect and how to communicate with your kids on a way that they can hear and they can understand and they get it as well as a parent. And everything that Papa has mentioned it's just all like tick, 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 tick. And as a parent, it's so encouraging and empowering that knowing that with this information, we get so many things like that they don't work, but with this thing it does, because it allows us to really have that deep connection and knowing it's not about us. It's about them, and it's about how best to fulfill their dreams, aspirations, and goals to be the best versions of them. And so this is where having the kids profile was a true blessing. So I'm always thankful for you, Papa, because it's certainly changed our lives. So from my heart to yours, mate, thank you.
Well, I really love when we have the conversation, you tell me what the kids are up to, and then, I can hear you tearing up and that, and I'm sitting back trying to be quite cool and everything goes, but trust me, when I get off the call, the hanky's out. Because that's the thing, when you're able to, it comes back to the Campfire Project. Everything I do is about relationships. It's all about being there with people and knowing that, as they say, what you do for yourself dies with you, but what you do for others and for the community is and always will be eternal. I spent the first half of my life, the first 50 years on that, searching for relationships and not really feeling that I was very successful at it. Now I just help other people with their relationships, and my relationships have never been stronger because of it. So by helping others first, it always comes back. And that's why the Campfire Project was started, and that's why, having you beautiful people, throat's starting to go already. So it gets to me as well. But it's the connections that we make. This is what makes life worthwhile. It's not the money that we make. I get all these coaches saying they train people who were, 5 and 6, 7-figure coaches. And I go, well, show me the money you got in the bank. And people say, well, what money have you got in the bank from yours? My business is relationships, and my bank account is absolutely full. And you three are all part of that, and all the people in the Campfire Project and the other groups I'm part of as well.
Wonderful. So as we come in, I really appreciate that, Papa, and thank you, Papa, and also Angela for jumping on tonight, and all the beautiful comments and questions that are coming through. As we come to a close this evening, please jump over to www.thecampfireproject.com.au to find out more about information about the upcoming live campfire, because I think it's so important that we establish those connections and continue those connections and really have some beautiful conversations around the campfire, which is very heartfelt. So from my heart to yours, thank you everyone for tonight. Scotty, anything that you want to say as we come into a close?
I'm just really grateful to have the 3 people on screen in my life. You mean the world to me, and my life is a lot more fuller because you've come into it. I honor the 3 of you for gifting me that opportunity. Thank you.
It's mutual, mate.
Thank you.
Oh, you're looking for me to do the button? I hope not. Oh, I love it. So, there we go. Now, do you see it? Now, just to give reference with the whole computer thing, just see I disappeared? I couldn't figure out how to bring myself back, so I had to go out to come. Love it. So, but honestly, Angela, Alan, thank you so much for everything you've done for me and for what we do here, and being a big part of the business of Smiles as much as anything else as well. So, is there anything you'd like to finish with, Angela, just quickly?
No, just gratitude. I think it's more feeling at the moment than words.
Yeah, I love that. Papa?
No, that's pretty well covered it.
Beautiful. Are you bringing blue?
Point to sit in the energy.
Are you bringing blue face paint for the catch up?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do about turning blue. If it's cold, it might be taken care of for me.
Just be careful, Papa. You never know what I'll bring. On that note, thank you so much for joining us for another conversation on What's Up Wednesday. We'll see you next week. And I'm actually going to try and do a broadcast tomorrow night quickly from the Smiles for Life dinner, because I think it's something that we should all see and embrace, because it's honestly one of the most beautiful things that I've put forward from my community, my own backyard. So, yeah. On that note, thank you, Shorty.
Thanks,
love
guys.
you, mate. And
Good night.
Good night.
Where's that button?
Oh my God.
Hang on a sec. I'm sure it's moved. Can you see it?